Welcome to another episode of the Rabioba. Again, we have Mama here. Today, what we want to talk about is African parents. A lot of the young generation nowadays, I see you guys a lot. I'm seeing you guys like you're part of them, sharing things about African parents, how they bring you guys up, these kids in the diaspora or in the Western society. And it seems that we are not getting it right. I would say we because we are all in this together.
Yeah.
If we say African parents, I cannot exclude myself from it. So, what do you think we are doing wrong? Or, I don't know how to put this question. Like, where are we getting it wrong? Because it seems like, yes, we're never getting it right with you, this Gen Z generation.
Firstly, I want to say thank you for having me here again.
You're welcome.
And that's a very, very big question. I think I can only express from what I've heard with other people. And then I'll also dive into like things I think you guys could have done better. Because I feel like the way you raised me is very different from the way you've raised Micah, for example. So I think you and Daddy have like changed your parenting style completely. I'm going to credit it to me. And
So basically, you taught us how to parent.
Yes, I think I did. But one of the main concerns a lot of people have with African parents is creating a home where open dialogue isn't allowed. You know, when you can go to your parents and say, oh, this happened to me, without them judging you or accusing you or coming for you. You know, a lot of my friends think it's so weird that I tell my mom everything from guys that I have a crush on, all my female drama, all of that, boyfriends. Like I tell my mom everything, right? And a lot of people find that, a lot of African friends find that really, really weird. Because they're like, oh, if I tell my mom that I like a boy, she's going to get angry. She's going to do this. She's going to do that. So I think the most important thing is creating a place. Because your kids, at the end of the day, they're going to do things that you will not like. And at least what you want is for them
everything.
to... Exactly. Yeah. You should want them to at least tell you, or I would want my kids in the future to at least tell me what's happening so that you can give advice or just to make sure that you know what type of trap they're going on. A lot of these kids, there's a saying, strict parents create secretive kids. Kids will start to do things behind your back, things that you don't know.
They start to act like the way you want them to act in front of you.
And behind closed doors, a lot of these kids...
They have double life.
Yeah, when I'm in uni right now, and I'm telling you, a lot of my African friends or people that I know...
their parents think they don't even talk to men. And they are sleeping with men and doing all sorts of things. Like, when they're in front of you, they're going to act a certain type of way. But because you've not created a space where they can feel vulnerable or able to express or talk about things, it leads to that. But I always know that, like, were you able to do that with your mom growing up?
Just like you said, that environment was in there. Even though I was very close to my mom, I can chat to my mom a lot of things. And basically, which is quite, different from my peers during the time where we were growing up.
Oh, so you had that open dialogue?
Yes, I have that open dialogue. But it was a case of like, okay, I have a crush on this guy. So my mom knows all my crushes.
Really?
But that's where it stops, You just pretend like you're not doing anything. Just basically
it was still a line of okay, I'm
definitely
not gonna tell her all of this.
Yeah.
But I think I was telling my friends, a lot of them I know with African parents is that a lot of them have unresolved traumas. Because it's a cycle, right?
See that one? That's a long topic. They
have a lot of unresolved traumas with their own childhood and how they were raised, and then trauma does two things. You either want to be nothing like that at all, like the way your parents were, or you don't even realize it, but subconsciously you continue that.
And that's what most of the majority of the cases are, I think.
Because they don't sit down to reflect.
Trauma
and
is
like
something that you can tell, I've gone through trauma. It lives in you and it manifests in your behavior 100%. And everything you do without realizing that you've been
acting in that type of way. Yeah, exactly, 100%.
So, which means the number one reason you're talking about is that lack of communication.
And lack of judgment. Because, like, I always tell my friends, this sounds crazy, but, like, don't trust your parents, bro. Like, they act like they were the first in their class. No, they weren't.
Yes.
Because not everybody can be the first in their class. Like, so all African parents were all the first in their class. Like, I'm not stupid, bro. Like, you were not all the first in your class. You were not all saints. Like, our African parents, they did things, guys. They did things. They're just trying to act now like,
No, but it's different. I can tell you for a fact it's different. No, it's different. Like what you teenagers do nowadays.
Nah, I don't trust
it's different. It's different. Well, for me, I can speak for myself. It's quite different, When we were younger, at your age, boys were always a thing, but it was not like we were not engaging in sexual activities.
Speak for yourself.
And drugs. Yes, that's what I'm saying. I can speak for myself, and that's why I like to relate. I want to believe that all of you are innocent. Kids are being kids. So when I hear stories or people even coming to confess, and there was a program I was watching on BBC where people come and talk about how they lost their virginity, and as young as 10. So that program just opened my eye. I'm like, oh wow. God. Oh, wow. So
even for my generation, that's crazy.
Yeah, so it's different. It's different. But we always like to use ourselves as examples, try to tell you that we did this way.
Yeah,
we were good.
But also, it's a different society. There's
a
bunch of different influences. And I think our generation, one thing I don't like, I think we are exposed to things so much earlier than I think we should be.
That's absolutely
100%. And from a very young age, things are being forced on us. You're seeing things that I feel like no child needs to see this early on.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much things.
I think the internet make the whole
thing. Oh my God. One Google search and you're just in a completely different place. Yeah. It's crazy. Makes it 10 times worse as well. Yeah. But yeah, I think that one thing with African parents is that open dialogue and not allowing, like, you should see your child as a friend. Yeah. Try to be friends with your children. I know it's like you don't want to be too much of a friend because you still want to have that kind of authority. But I always say the balance that you have with me is spot on. Like, if I could, I would love to replicate that with my kids in the future, just to have that striking balance, because I still see you as my mother and I still have a line. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But also at the same time, like, I see you as a friend, someone I can come to when there's a problem. Even when I'm like really embarrassed with things I've done in uni, I'll be like, oh, mommy, don't get annoyed, but like, don't judge me. Literally, I'll be like, don't judge me, but I did do this and this. Like, I can still come to you in those type of situations, because at the end of the day, the only person that will make you feel safe, the only person you can go to when everything hits the fan is your parents. And if you can't even go to your parents, who do you have? You know, like, it's really, really upsetting when I see my friends, they go through all these things and they don't have their parents to run to. Because your parents should be that kind of people that are undeniably loyal to you no matter what. And if you're not making your child feel safe, like...
But then there's another side to that thing you just said. People feel like their mothers or their parents cannot give them objective advice. Like, we want to believe that every parent, you want the best for your kids.
Yeah.
You want the best things that you don't have, you want them to have. Things you couldn't enjoy, you want them to enjoy.
Yeah.
That's what I think every parent should be selfless when it comes to your kids. But some people were saying African parents are jealous of their first daughters.
Yeah.
I cannot relate to that. And I don't think you can relate as well. Yeah. So what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I've seen it like on TikTok and things like that where, and I don't know if it's necessarily restricted to African parents, but the first daughter, like the jealousy of their daughters.
Yeah.
And I think it's just also like a woman thing. Like, older women tend to be jealous of younger women because of their like youth. And the fact that
I don't even also think that makes sense.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. Like, I've lived my life.
You've lived your,
exactly. I can just look at you and it just can remind me of my younger
But so
self.
many older women are nasty and bitter. Like, it hurts them because you're enjoying your youth. But you also had your youth. But when it comes with the daughter thing, like, it's like they, or even telling their daughters, oh, you can't wear this in the house because of their husband, which is their dad. Like, why are you policing what she should wear inside the home? Like, if you don't trust your husband, that's a very deep-rooted problem you need to solve. Your daughter should be able to wear whatever I don't feel unsafe to wear shorts in my house and I have my brothers and my dad there. I shouldn't feel unsafe to do that. If I'm conscious about it, then there's a problem. And they shouldn't be. Like, this is your child. Why would your husband ever be looking at your child in any type of
And it doesn't matter whether it's biological dad,
or stepdad,
whatever it is.
At all. But it's that, and like, you know, when they see their daughters and their daughters look beautiful, a lot of them will be like, oh, they're trying to steal my husband. Yeah. It's like, this is your daughter.
No, I cannot relate.
It's so weird. Or parents who don't want, like you pointed on this, parents who don't want more for their children. Like, I've heard parents say, they'll say, oh, I didn't have this, so then you don't get to have it. And I think that's honestly ridiculous. You should want your child to have more than what you had. That is always, I feel like as a parent, that should always, I don't know if it's because I was raised that way and my parents wanted me to have more than what they had, and that's why I think it's normal. But for a lot of people, it's not. Like,
that's why I said I cannot relate. Whatever I don't have and what you don't have, I expect you to want to do more for your.
You already hear me say things like that. Like, oh, when I have kids, I want to make sure they do X, Y, and Z because, you know, I didn't get to have that. I really wanted to have that. You should want to like strive. Like, to be honest, you guys made it quite hard for me already because now, because I had quite a lot. Do you know what I mean? So now it's like I have to think even more.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that's how it should be.
That's how it should be. No. I cannot relate. Then the last part, which you always talk about African parents, is mental health. So do you think they don't like acknowledge mental health?
A lot of African parents are sick. and a lot of them are not mentally okay. So many are not mentally okay.
That's very controversial.
It is, but so many are not mentally okay. And it's not a bad thing. I think it's the stigma of admitting that like, there's mental health
issues. But that's what
issues.
I'm saying. If they cannot acknowledge
their
own
own
mental health and
they're not going to acknowledge.
Yeah.
Because I think with them, it's there's this girl on TikTok who broke it down perfectly. But because they grew up with not having a lot, so a lot of them it's just having the necessity. Like some of them, even the necessities like food was a struggle to have, or even water. And we have that in their heads. It's like, okay, you have what you need to survive. Why are you complaining?
Yeah.
But it's so much more
I've been
than
guilty. I've been guilty of that.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have. But it's so much more than that. Like,
but it takes more for you to reflect and learn.
And it's funny for you because you are a nurse.
Yes.
So I would think above everything you would be able to understand
mental health. It's different. It's just like any other thing. You're good at counseling people. You can be a therapist and you're good at counseling people. But when it comes to your own self, it's going to be different. Yeah. And that is just my own case. I could easily recognize people with mental health. I know how to support them. We advocate for them. You know, I can show you where you can get all the support that you need, what you are expected to do. I sit down and I do Facebook Live and I teach people how to make themselves happy and all that. But when it comes to inside my household, it's a different thing because I'm like, why would my child be going through depression? Why are you stressed? Why would you have anxiety? Anxiety over what? That was my thing. Anxiety over what?
But like, that's the thing I think with mental health issues. That a lot of the time it doesn't make sense. Like it doesn't have a chronological kind
of I know this.
Order. That's what I'm saying. You know this.
But it's difficult. it's difficult. But that's life. That's life.
But that's why I think that open dialogue is so important. But I think our parents need to like
even to look at the signs with your kids. Your child, if he or she does not come out of their bedroom all the time, all these like little indications that something is going on. Is very, very important because so many kids keep a lot to themselves and the last thing you want is...
they're going to open up and then you cannot acknowledge what they're going through.
There's like the funny video where someone comes to the African parent and was like, I'm depressed. And they said, you are depressed, go and depress those dishes. Like, it's like
more work exactly. You are even going through.
That's what open dialogue, that's judgment. And now you've told that child right now, I'm never going to come to you with anything ever again. And that's not a relationship you want to have. And I was saying that there's a huge difference between respect
and fear. And a lot of African parents raise with fear.
Right.
You should not raise your child to be scared of you. You should raise your child to respect you. And respect is not the same as fear. Respect is you leading by example. You showing them what a good person is. You acting in a manner where you even respect yourself. Do you even respect yourself? Like, you need to act in that type of way first. But you just want to, like, inflict fear. I'm going to beat you. I'm going to hit you. I'm going to do this. That's not respect. And it's very important. Respect is so much more important than fear. I'm going to, if you scare me, fine, I'll do what you say. But, like, I'm not doing it because I agree with you. If you tell me to do something because I respect you, I'm going to do it because I think, you know what, mommy knows best. And there's a reason why mommy said that, because I respect mommy's decision. That's different. But if you did it because of fear, I'm just doing it because you're forcing me to do it. And when I leave the house at 18, I'm going to not have any morals or principles.
That's right.
So 100%. Very, very important takeaway, I think. 100%. I'm not a parents counselor, guys. I don't have kids. But
sounded like you have. I think it's because you are very good at comparing when you see what some of your friends are going through, or even heard stories. Not
when I hear people
friends,
talk,
but
even friends were like, when they sit there and talk to me about their experiences growing up, I'm like, your parents did this to you? What?
Yeah.
Like, it's so abnormal, and it makes me sit down and reflect and go, what is going on?
But then I use this tactic where I'm just like, I'm telling you this, do what you want to do. At the end of the day, you come back, and then that's the best feeling ever. You come back and tell me,
Mommy, you're right.
You're right. I'm like, I know.
But sometimes you have to learn, like, life, sometimes you have to make mistakes.
So it's not all about, I'm not going to, always allow your kids to have another option.
Yeah.
Whether it is advice, something they want to do on their own, because that is something that makes them feel valued, because you want to try something that's your own opinion, your own idea, your own decisions, and then when they make mistakes, they can come back again and like, oh, you were right. So now you know that anything I'm advising you on, I have experience, I'm taking it. So that's why
where that respect comes
come
from.
back to me every time I say, oh, mommy, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? Yes. So,
but all of that stems down to open dialogue.
Yeah.
The fact that I can even come to you and say X, Y, and Z, help me with that. So I think once that first open dialogue is created, all of these kind of other things kind of seemingly come into place later on. But that dialogue is so important.
Okay. Am I supposed to have, oh my God, award?
Parent award. 100%. I've said this a million times. Like, literally could not ask for a better mom. And I don't want to inflate her ego any further, but
I know. Come to the end of today's program and see you soon. If you haven't subscribed yet, what are we waiting for? Go and subscribe so you don't miss any episode. Bye-bye.
Bye.